In today's Pokemon Market Update video, we're going to be talking about the entirety of Scarlet and Violet. We're going to touch on every single set, focusing on a sealed product and a single from that set. There's been some sneaky sets that have been shooting up in price recently. In yesterday's video, I noticed that Stellar Crown was creeping up to $300 a booster box. So that was like the point where I was like, okay, we need to take a look at Scarlet and Violet as a whole and just do a little bit of an update. And we're going to start off with Paldea Evolved booster boxes. Currently, these are the most expensive booster box of the era. Previously, it was Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals had a little hiccup. There was a restock on Pokemon Center. We've talked about that. So those boxes have fallen, and Paldea is continuing to chug up. Current market price of $465. The listed median is 500, so this is a box that will continue to trend up and do well. Obviously, it's a much older set than Destin, so you don't really have to worry about reprints as much. It should be out of that reprint window in theory. 231% on the year. A year ago, this was below MSRP at $140. And we are not going to actually talk about the Magikarp. We're actually going to talk about the Tyranitar from the set. This is the illustration rare number 222. I picked this one just because it's shooting up pretty big recently. 82% in the past 3 months. And if you look on the 1 year, it's not up as much on the 1 year, 69%. So previously this card had been as high as $51 and pretty much going from 40 up to around 80. It's fallen off a little recently down to in the 676-ish range. So it's come down a little bit. Lowest listeds right now are actually a little bit lower, in the lower 70s. So a little bit more of a fall off happening. Not surprising when you see a card shoot up this much this quick. And be careful with this card because it looks like this may have been a targeted card for a buyout. So just keep that in mind. 27 copies sold right here. And usually when you see this big growth, they retrace. Different cards will retrace different amounts. I think this card will hold up pretty decent. It's not going to fall off as hard as some of those other like lesser desirable IRs that tend to get bought out. So the Tyranitar is the one that's moving. Then let's talk about Scarlet and Violet base. This booster box is currently the cheapest in the era. So we go from the most expensive to the cheapest. It's around $246, but it's trending up. Listed median price is at $280. Keep in mind, though, this is a slow-moving box on TCG Player. There's only 58 boxes sold in the past month with 360 currently listed. So it's going to take a while to eat through some of that supply. But this box has proven just to slowly but surely just chug up over time. A year ago, this was just barely over $100, and now we're seeing, obviously, where we're at right now at $246. So 141% growth on the year for Scarlet and Violet base. The card I wanted to touch on is the Greavard. Now, once again, be careful with this card, but it is up really big. I think it mostly has to do with people targeting the Gengar and Ghastly little rugs here on the ground. But this is a nice looking illustration rare. It's up 723% on the year. Previously, this card had spiked at around $25 in February. But a year ago, it was a $4 card, and currently it's on a 362% run in the past 3 months. And 300% in the past month. So be careful with this one. You can see targeted buyouts here October 3rd and October 12th. A lot of copies selling. So this card most likely going to fall into the future. So just keep an eye out on the Greavard. But I thought it was worth noting just these percentage gains are pretty ridiculous. So we'll have to see where it falls down to off of this, because previously it went from 4 to 25 back down to 6. So, it kept a few dollars worth of gain over that pump. So we'll have to just see. But I just thought it was worth mentioning the Greavard there. Next up is Paradox Rift. These boxes have come down a little bit recently. These were also a targeted buyout. You can see back here. They were in the 250s, but then on September 23rd, 81 boxes sold, shooting the box price up to over 300 into the 320s. It's since come back down into the $200 range. Current market price at $288, but this one's going to continue to trend up as well. You can see the listed median price right here is at $330. A year ago, take a look at the 1 year chart. Pretty steady growth over the last year, $106 a year ago and 171%. So some pretty solid gains overall. And if you know we're going to talk about Paradox Rift, we have to talk about the Groudon illustration rare. This is number 199. This is up 36% in the past 3 months. It's having a hard time getting over and breaking that $100 mark, currently at $95. If we zoom out right here, it has broken that mark before, back here in late January, early February. It was around 110, and then it fell back down to around upper 60s, and now currently on its run. A very nice illustration rare from Paradox Rift, currently the most valuable card in the set. Then we have Temporal Forces booster boxes. Another one that are just sneaky. I think this one's a little sneaky, getting real close to that $300 mark. Current market price is at $265, with the most recent sale at $293. But look at the lowest listeds right now. We're at $285, and then it goes to in the $290s. Just a handful of sales really until we'll be at that $300 mark for Temporal Forces. And if you look at this set, still slower moving, only 48 boxes sold in the past 1 month, but 69 currently available. So a lot lower supply on Temporal. So we're going to see these boxes continue to trend up. 117 a year ago, and 125% gain on the year for Temporal Forces booster boxes. And then another interesting card from the set is the Ghastly illustration rare. Currently, as of this recording, this is the second most expensive card from the set, but I could definitely see a scenario in which this card actually leapfrogs and takes the #1 spot. We've seen a lot of illustration rares, seeing some good value. Obviously, the Groudon, we have the Magikarp from Paldea, taking some crazy numbers. So it's definitely possible for this to move up, and it doesn't have to move up that much more. I think like $5 or $6 would actually move it into first place, if you could believe that. But this one's up 39% in the past 3 months. And if we look at the 1 year, it previously peaked around $58, and it hit 60 a little while ago, but right now it's at 59. So it is a little bit past that previous high. And then a year ago, this was a $23 card. Obviously, very popular card. You got multiple Ghastlys, Haunters, and Gengars in this card with a Scared Meowth. So it does make sense, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it take that #1 spot into the future from Temporal Forces. Next up, real quickly, we have to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is the Card Centering Calculator. If you want to grade and maybe are a little timid because you haven't done it before and you're worried, you can at least eliminate centering. This is a free to use app on the Apple App Store. You can, as you can see in the video, you can take a photo of any card. It doesn't have to be sports. You can do Pokemon. It sometimes will automatically detect where the edges are, but you just zoom in real far in there, you can adjust, and it's going to tell you exactly, as far as centering goes, what you can expect from wherever you're looking to grade. PSA, CGC, tag, whatever you're looking like. It has all of their parameters of what they require for each grade built in, so you can use that. It's very easy to use, and I would probably argue the best card centering app on the market currently. It's what I use. Totally free to use. There will be a link in the description. There is also a paid upgrade that you can unlock some additional features, but completely free to use. So make sure you check out Card Centering Calculator. There will be a link down in the description for that. And then let's move up into some funner sets. Let's talk about 151 just for a minute. And for this, I chose the Pokemon Center ETBs just because these ones are just insane to look at. But these have slowed down a little bit recently. Look at the past month. It's actually dipped just a tiny bit. Down 2%, nothing crazy. It's still up 50% in the past 3 months, but currently the market price is $933, but the listed median is $1,200. So it looks like once it really fully breaks that $1,000 mark, and we have seen, many sales at or above $1,000 already, but once it fully breaks that $1,000 mark, it might shoot up all the way up to $1,200. And this is definitely a slower mover. Only 14 boxes right here sold in the past month. Very, very expensive, so that does make sense. And if you look at the 1 year, obviously 312%, massive gains. It was $226 a year ago. Right now, the lowest listeds are, there's just a few at 900, and then it's all 950 and up for 151 Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. Next up is the Charizard. This is the special illustration rare number 199. This one's come down a little bit recently after its big run up that it's had in the past 3 months, 48%. But in the past month, it's down nothing too crazy, 3%, right? From over 300 down to around 280 currently. And if we look at the 1 year chart, previously this card had pretty much been at this price back in late February, early March, around 290, 300-ish. And before that, it was at $180. So we've seen quite the big swings on this card. 180 up to that 290, back down to 180, and then up to 300. So it's just going up and down, really fluctuating with demand. But 91 copies currently on TCG with lowest listeds, a little bit lower than current market, into the 260s and 270s, just a few. So that's currently where the chase card is, the Charizard from that set. And then speaking of Charizard, we have to talk about Obsidian Flames booster boxes. Now, these have slowed down a little bit recently, but they're still moving up 43%. And this one broke $300. Let's see, when did it break 300? Back here in September, it broke $300 and currently at 334. But most recent sale, 346, listed medians at 370. Continuing to shoot up in value is Obsidian Flames. This is a set that a lot of people overlooked, the Charizard hype, but possibly Phantasmal Flames and that new Charizard card, bringing some resurgence back to this set, possibly. But 172% on the year. A year ago, $122 box. So definitely trending up. Let's see how many have sold in the past month. This one's moving pretty decent compared to what is available. 62 boxes currently sold in the past month, with 80 available. So if this trend continues, we'll definitely see this box slowly start to creep up, getting closer to the $400 mark for Obsidian Flames. If it can hit 370, start to get pretty close there. Lowest listeds, looks like there's some in, they're all 340 and up, which is, like I said, above that current market price, right there with those recent sales. So Obsidian Flames continuing to trend up. The Charizard from Obsidian Flames, the chase card, this is the special illustration rare, 223. This one is on a little bit of a decline in the past month, but still up. It's down 21% in the past month, so dropping a little bit. It was definitely well over $100, right around 124, 125, and it's fallen down to under 100 currently. It's still up in the past 3 months, though, up 57%. So not too bad. Obviously, it saw a big jump, and then it's come down a little bit. It was around $60 3 months ago. And if you zoom out on the 1 year, the previous high on this card was around $85 back in early January. And it has a 1 year low of 52. So not really surprised to see it falling down after this big growth. This is something we normally see. We'll have to see where it holds, though. It will be the interesting point. So off of 120 down to in the 90s. We'll see where it holds. Obviously, with the booster boxes getting more expensive, that does bode well for this card. So we'll have to keep an eye on Obsidian Flames moving forward, especially as we get closer to Phantasmal, because Phantasmal, that SIR Charizard, going to be very, very expensive out the gate. And a lot of people might be looking to some cheaper Charizard cards if they go, oh man, I didn't pull the Phantasmal SIR, and then, I want a nice Charizard, and then they start looking and go, oh, well, this might be one of those cards that maybe they target, and they go, well, this is a nice looking one, and they settle for this. So that could play a factor moving forward. Then we have Twilight Masquerade boxes. Now, these ones had broken $300 already, continuing to move up in the past 3 months. Not as big of gains as we've seen from some other boxes, only up 16% and 6% just in the past month, but slowly moving up. 98% on the year. It was $164 a year ago. It did dip to around 149, 150, but just slowly moving up. Current market's at 326. And another good indicator that this is going to continue to move up is the listed median price at 370. So we're going to continue to see these boxes move up into the near future. 59 selling in the past month. Lowest listeds are around 320. It's just a little bit below current market, but it's just this one. These two right here, and then it's up into the 330s and up. So Twilight Masquerade, I would expect to continue to creep up as well. I don't know how long exactly it's going to take to get up to this listed median price of 370, but it'll be a very interesting point when we get another Scarlet Violet era box that starts to get closer to that $400 mark. Absolutely insane. Then we have the Greninja to talk about. This is the chase card of the set, the special illustration rare number 214. This was back, when Twilight came out. This was the card that, like, the first one that really jumped up in value. Even before Surging Sparks, we started to see the Greninja gain some crazy value, but it's continuing to rise right now. 36, almost 37% up in the past 3 months, cracking over that $300 mark, currently at 360. And if we zoom out, previously this card had been as high as $410 in February. But yeah, this is one that jumped up out the gate. It was one of the first ones that rose real big, and it fell very, very hard off of this $400 mark, down all the way to 260, but bounced off pretty nice off of 260, gaining around $100 in value to where we're currently at right now with the Greninja. So keep an eye on this one. We'll have to see. Let's see how many have been selling just for reference. So this is one that could move into the future based off supply and demand. 34 copies sold in the past month with 48 available. So we could see that supply start to dwindle depending on if more people are listing it. So keep an eye on the Greninja. It'd be very interesting if this card gets back to that $400 mark. I think that would be kind of a big deal for this card into the future. And then next up is Stellar Crown. Now, like I mentioned, this was the one that I kind of caught my eye as I there's so many sets, right? And we can't check in on every set in every single video. We couldn't cover enough, right? But this is one where I saw the booster box price and I was like, oh my gosh, really? Stellar Crown, is about to be a $300 box. That one kind of shocked me. Current market price, $276. And it hasn't been moving that big. I mean, like, look at the 3-month. It's only up around 19%, although the chart is a little bugged right here. But if we zoom out on the 1 year, 158%. A year ago, $106 box, but the listed median price, is at $300 a box. So it's going to continue to trend up. The listed median isn't that much higher than the current market, but lowest listeds right now, look at where we're at. Lowest listeds are $290 and up, and then $295, and then we're getting real close to $300. So Stellar Crown was a little bit one of those shockers to see at that price. And the most expensive card from the set is the Squirtle. This is the illustration rare. Absolutely adorable. They really nailed it with these, the starter with this and the Bulbasaur and even the Charmander promo. But this is number 148, up in the last 3 months around 50%, from a $50 card up to around, it did hit as high as like $88. It's come down a little bit, down to 82. If you zoom out on the 1 year, the previous high was around 81. So we are past that still, even after this little fall off. But before that, it was a $40 card a year ago. So another set that has an illustration rare as the most expensive card from the set. There's actually two. The Bulbasaur actually is doing very well from this set. So, when we go back to that Ghastly, I could definitely see a scenario in which that Ghastly moves up in value, because obviously if it can happen from Stellar Crown and all these other sets, I forgot about Stellar Crown when I was mentioning the Magikarp and everything earlier in the Groudon. There definitely is room for that Ghastly to move up. It is definitely possible if you see some of the prices from some of these other illustration rares. And then Surging Sparks is kind of one of those. Obviously, we have gotten some recent supply of booster boxes in the past, and this one's been on a little bit of a dip recently. Let's see, in the past month, it's a little bit of a dip. It hit 300 and then came back down into the 270s, but I think it's going to continue to trend up. The listed median is currently around 310. If you zoom out on the 1 year, 98% growth. A year ago, this was a $136 box. This was really the set that really started to kick things off as far as crazy price movement out the gate, specifically for booster boxes. $136, it went to $260, came back down to $220, and then seen a little bit of fluctuation recently. I wouldn't be surprised to see this box get to $300, maybe a little quicker than some of those other ones. So keep an eye out for Surging Sparks. I was surprised that it wasn't a little bit higher, just based off of comparison to some of the other sets. The Pikachu SIR is doing rather well, though. This is the SIR number 238, up around 30% in the past 3 months. If you zoom out on the 1 year, you can see how this card shot up massively. After release, it went up almost as high as $500, and then it fell down to a low of, looks like 255 was the low. So it's had a really good bounce off of 255 up to currently where we're seeing now, almost $100 of gain back. And let's see where the lowest listeds are. We got 330, 330s, 340s kind of. So a little bit below the current market price for the Surging Sparks Pikachu. And then we do have to talk about Prismatic Evolutions. Obviously an extremely popular set. This is the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, currently around $400. This one's going to continue to trend up as well. This is more of a no-brainer, but listed median is at $500. It's definitely going to hit that. Just give it a little bit more time. We've seen what some of the other Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes can do. Now, we're starting to get somewhat close-ish. Still got a few more months to go, though, till this set will be a full year old. You can see back here, pre-release pricing was very high. for these boxes, around 400. We're now at an all-time high, eclipsing those previous insane pre-order prices of 402. And it looks like the all-time low for Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes was around $220. So these are going to continue to trend up, very popular. The Umbreon SIR number 161, still seeing it slowed down a little bit, right? Saw that bounce back that we just talked about recently, 33% up in the past month. So it's come up, it's around $1,200 currently. Previously, this card was much higher, around $1,600 back at the beginning of the year after release. And it's at an interesting point where it really doesn't need that many more sales to kind of start moving up a little bit more. There's quite a few in the $1,200 range. And obviously this is an inexpensive card, so it doesn't move as many copies, but then we might get into that 1,300 plus range. And so we need about 10-ish more sales to really get this thing going. But we could see I still think we could see some upwards movement on this card. 40 have sold actually in the past month. Although you can see after the price moved up, you can see the sales have slowed down. So right here, you had 7 selling on a single day. So I think that this probably will slow down as far as sales go, but only 44 copies currently listed for the Umbreon. Next up is Journey Together. Journey Together currently around $264 with the listed median price of about $300. So another box that's going to continue to creep up to get to that $300 mark. Man, I mean, I feel like give it a few more months and then the cheapest box, even if it's Scarlet Violet base, is going to be $300 at some point. Like, that's kind of crazy to think of how quickly we've gotten here. Market has just accelerated things so much, but 264 currently on Journey Together. If we zoom out right here, I don't think we need to go full to the 1 year, but we're almost past the pre-order highs of 275. So it's about to get there and break that. Journey Together, about to crack $300. It might take a little bit more time. Let's see how many have sold in the past month. Yeah, so we still have like 400 boxes listed with 133 selling in the past month. So it might take a month or two. But Journey Together continuing to trend up. Lily's Clefairy. This is the chase card of the set, the special illustration rare, number 184. This one was falling massive. This one fell hard. And if we zoom out, obviously you can see from a high of 236 and down to the 120s, but it's seen a very good bounce as of lately. 32% up to currently around $170 for Lily's Clefairy. So a very big bounce back. And then next up, my favorite set of the era, Destined Rivals, which like I mentioned earlier, but we'll just touch on it real quickly. We did get a restock of booster boxes all in the Pokemon Center last week. We got booster boxes, bundles, sleeve packs, a ton of stuff, and that greatly affected the booster box price. You can see it fell off from around $500, and some were selling even higher than that during this brief period, but from 500 down to around 370 where it's currently at. However, this is a set that has a lot of demand. There's still a lot of hype around Destined Rivals. The listed median is still at 500. And you can see that's quite a bit above 370 where we're currently at. So I think this box is going to rebound just fine based off of, unless we get some announcement of like a big reprint for Destined Rivals. But just keep in mind that I think that this box will bounce back. I'm not really surprised. But obviously, an influx of boxes did bring the price down. And we did see there was a buyout kind of happening as far as shooting this price up. A lot of boxes being bought right here at September 21st. You will see a lot of people purchasing on the dip too. The boxes are declining. You can see 63 boxes sold on October 11th. That was 2 days ago as of this recording. So I think this box will continue to trend well and continue to do well. I mean, I don't want to see it at this price. I'd like to see these boxes a lot more affordable. But I think they'll get back up to this price. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Once again, we'll have another race to see if it can pass Paldea Evolved. I definitely didn't think it was going to happen that quickly when it did, but definitely possible. So the Destined versus Paldea thing into the future will be interesting. Then we have the Team Rocket's Mewtwo, which we've touched on recently, but this is the SIR number 231, up almost 40% in the past 3 months, and about 40% in the past month alone. So a lot of this growth coming recently. If you zoom out right here, pre-release or release at 333, shot up to around almost 400, dipped to 340, and now we're seeing it at well over $500. Lowest listeds right now, there's one at 500, and then it goes up to 550, and then into the 600s. So if some of those prices continue, we could see this card start to get very expensive very quick. There's only 32 copies currently listed on TCG Player, with 71 selling in the past month. So this is another interesting one I'm going to be watching very closely to kind of see where this one ends up. It could be very expensive, at least for the foreseeable future. Then, yes, we are going to talk about Shrouded Fable briefly. This is the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box we have pulled up. It's currently up around 69%. It wasn't moving for a while back here. You could see it was very stagnant, but it did shoot up to around 200, and then it's come back down to 160. So that is the Shrouded Fable PC ETB. One of the most affordable. You could have picked this up beginning of this year, even in the 60s. So yeah, nothing too crazy. Obviously, Shrouded Fable. It does have some good cards, but definitely, one of the weakest sets of the Scarlet Violet era. Unfortunately, the promo card's not very good either. If they would have done a good promo card, I think this obviously that would have carried this box enough, but the promo card not looking very good. And then we have the Houndoom illustration rare. This is number 066. This is my favorite card of the set. It's dipping a little bit recently, but it's still up 31, almost 32% in the past 3 months. In the past month, you see it's fallen off a little bit. It did hit $40, but it's come back down to around 37. And then on the 1 year, this card previously spiked at around $50, and then a year ago it was at 19. And we have 2 more sets to cover. Next up, we have the Black Bolt Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. Now, these sets haven't really moved a lot because there's not that much time has gone. Like, these are new sets, right? But they are up. Black Bolt's up more than White Flare. It's up around 18%. It has fallen a little bit. These boxes did hit as high as 240, come back down to the 230s. Give it a little bit more time. I do think that these boxes look really nice, but kind of lacking as far as the promo cards go for both of the sets. But I do like the color palettes that they chose. They do pop. They do stand out. So PC ETB is down a little bit, but still up overall. This is not the current chase card from the set, but I did want to talk about a little bit of an update on the Seismitoad illustration rare number 105. You've seen some pretty decent fluctuations in the past 3 months, from $64, shot up to $220, came back down to $150, then went back up to $220, and now it's back down to around $200 for the Seismitoad. This is that Shinji Kondo artwork card. Lowest listeds right now are just a little bit under $200 for Seismitoad. And then lastly, I do apologize, this is a little bit longer video than what we normally do. White Flare. This is the cheaper of the two. Nice looking box. Like I said, lacking promo, but it's up 8% in the past 3 months, or 10% in the past month. Just over $200 currently. 211, but with the listed median price of 245. So this is going to continue to trend up into the near future. And then the single that I wanted to talk about is the Reshiram SIR. Now this one's been falling after release, and it's under $200 currently. A very, very nice looking SIR. I do like this card a lot. But currently at 197, most recent sale at 180, and then lowest listed is 190. So I just thought that was worth mentioning for a nice SIR of the set. I'll be interested to see how those cards do long term as well. So that's all I have for you guys in this one. We went a little bit longer. We talked about every single Scarlet and Violet set. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update of like where everything is at. Mostly kind of focusing on where the sealed is at, with booster boxes kind of being the priority. But we touched on some PC ETBs for the specialty sets. PC ETBs for the other sets are also doing really well. I wanted to mention that, but it just was too much to kind of tackle in this video. So we'll touch on that in the future. But that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.